Welcome to the Tulsa World Sports Extra Show. I'm your host, Jawan Lee, joined by sports columnist Bill Haisten. Little rapid fire series we have going on this week. Yesterday, we talked about the OKC Thunder with Barry Trammell. Today, we're talking about some big OK Preps moves with Bill Haisten. So I won't waste you guys' time any longer. Bill wrote in today's paper about former Jenks running back Semaj Stanford
Well,
has an
DB mainly, right, right. He is a,
DB.
but I'm glad you mentioned that because I'll let you finish the intro and then I got an interesting nugget for you.
So for
I'm
DB
sorry to
running
interrupt.
great player nonetheless. Makes a transfer from Jenks to Broken Arrow. Bill, you talked about it, you wrote about it. I'll let you have the floor. How impactful was this decision to move to BA?
Well, I'm sorry I interrupted you that way, but
No problem.
as I talked to Samaj this morning, and then I'll answer your question, and he was primarily on the defensive side of the ball at Jenks. He wants to play every snap of every game on both sides. He wants to be a Travis Hunter
Travis, okay.
type of
Okay.
guy at Broken Arrow. So that's when you said running back, and I'm like, no, he's a DB. No, he's about to be everything at BA. But how impactful? Well, just from one guy moving from one program to another standpoint, he really might be pound for pound, regardless of position, the best player in the state. He's got more than 20 major college offers. He's just coming off his sophomore year, right? So he's got 2 more years of varsity eligibility, unless he reclassifies, which he's that kind of player. I can see that happening. I didn't ask him about that this morning. We did talk this morning, Samaj and I did. Incredibly impactful, great player, great defensive back, wants to have the football in his hands with greater frequency and can change games on either side or control games actually defensively and change games, I think, offensively. Pretty shocking move. I would say the most shocking player move that we've seen since Shaker Rising moved from Jenks to Union in 2022, the spring of, when he took part in the final Jenks spring practice session of that May in 22. Barry Lewis was on the Jenks campus to interview him that day, and Shaker talked as though he would be at Jenks for 3 more seasons, right? And they talked about the upcoming season, how spring went, et cetera. And the next morning, Shaker was on the sideline with Union at a team camp. So that's how unpredictable and kind of crazy some of these moves have been. But nothing had rivaled the Shaker Rising move with regard to like just kind of blowing your mind or blowing a lot of people's minds until yesterday. Yesterday was truly jarring. I'm not saying it upset a lot of people. I'm sure it upset a lot of Jenks people. Maybe it upset people beyond Jenks throughout 6A1 because they thought, oh my Lord, it Broken Arrow is a desirable destination for a guy like Samaj Stanford that look out, kids may flock to Broken Arrow, which BA has great facilities, or a new head coach, Travis Hill, who won championships at East Central and Muskogee. And now he has Broken Arrow's resources and by far the state's largest enrollment, human resources unrivaled in Oklahoma high school football, and facilities that are just nearly, maybe not on Union's level, but as good as anybody else's for sure. So I guess then after you get past the impact of one man making this move, then you start thinking about the potential influence on other players. And, like I said, if Broken Arrow is seen by Samaj Stanford as a place where he wants to go play, and he is a high level 4-star recruit, so it's a high stakes thing for him, right? He wants to take nothing but positive steps in his development and his exposure, and he thinks he can best do that at Broken Arrow. That's very interesting. And so how many other guys might look at that and say, or think, I should take a look at BA because player movement has become so common. It's just the way it is now. So Yeah, it was a big story. In fact, I was meeting with you and Barry Lewis, Barry Trammell, Eric. We were all meeting yesterday during our staff weekly staff Zoom, and I get a call, and from a thank you, Lord. I'm glad the guy called me. I would have seen the Semaj tweet eventually, but I hadn't seen it yet, and I was alerted to it, and wow. But like I wrote exactly that today. Wow, that was my reaction yesterday. I'm sure a lot of people reacted that way. So I don't know that there could be a bigger move in high school free agency than Samaj Stanford, who has offers from what, 6 or 8 SEC schools, 6 or 8 Big 12 schools, OU, OSU, Tulsa, Arkansas. He's a very, very heavily recruited guy who I'll report in a couple of days on all of the unofficial visits he has made just this calendar year and all that he's going to be doing over the summer. And so, yeah, it was a blockbuster free agency. I shouldn't say free agency, but it feels kind of like that, right? It does. And so
Yeah.
blockbuster move from Jenks, a school with more tradition than any big school in the state, over to Broken Arrow, which in about 100 years of varsity football has only won one championship. But that's the impact of Travis Hill and getting him hired in December. And so look out for BA. 6A1 this year, Jawan's going to be off the charts. Interesting. Bixby is pretty clearly the favorite going in and should be, with 17 returning starters and a veteran quarterback and Lauren Montgomery and those coordinators and all that. But and Owasso will be really good with Drew Frankenfield at quarterback and Bill Blankenship back at the head as the head coach. But man, I've been saying it all along, man, look out for BA, and here we go. And now you get Samaj Stanford. That changes their team, and perhaps changes how the postseason is going to look.
Bill, you always do a great job of kind of leading us where we need to go. And that was going to be my next question. So I'll ask you this and then we can get out of here. When you look at the landscape of it all, like where does Broken Arrow now stack up? You talked about the one championship. Are they now championship contenders with a move like this?
Well, I don't really know like where they are at quarterback. I don't know. I need to go over there and spend an afternoon and learn more about the staff. Although Samaj Stanford this morning raved about, the staff that Travis Hill has put together, which is interesting too. I should mention that Samaj Stanford told me this morning that he hasn't even yet spoken with the Broken Arrow coaches. He's just doing this. He and his family talked about it. About a week ago, they started to kind of contemplate this, and then they discussed it in a serious family way and made the decision to do it. And so, but Samaj said he has not, at least as of 8:30 this morning, had not yet spoken with any of the Broken Arrow coaches. But behind the curtains at Broken Arrow, I'm sure those coaches are doing cartwheels. Just are you kidding? What a great situation. So, how does it impact the postseason? It just, presuming Jenks is what it typically is, what I'm sure Owasso is going to be really good. Bixby, is going to be really good. It just adds an additional piece in the semifinal round that's going to make it. Broken Arrow won't be an easy out against anybody. And I should say that without knowing what they have at quarterback just yet. But I think they're going to be really good. Travis Hill's teams are usually great defensively. And like I said, who knows between now and the end of spring football, how many other guys might decide to make that move. And you have to do it. You have to move to Broken Arrow to make these moves outside of the open transfer window, which isn't until the summer. So Yeah, Broken Arrow is in a different place now. Really, since the day that Travis was introduced in December, BA's been in a different place. There's been a buzz about them, and look out for Broken Arrow, and they're really aggressively attacking the process of getting better. And now they've enticed a great talent like Semaj Stanford to uh, and as I understand it, Samaj has been a Jenks guy since little guy football, right? And now he's going into his junior year and he will be wearing a Broken Arrow uniform. So big, big story in not just Tulsa area football, but really Oklahoma high school football.
But for the sake of the show, let's leave the conversation right there for now. But of course, there's plenty much more to discuss, and I'm pretty sure with our editor Jason Colleton this week, you'll have plenty more to talk about in
Yeah.
terms of that move. And I hope you guys are enjoying kind of this rapid fire series. Bill will definitely be back on to discuss some OKC Thunder coverage when we find out where they're going in the second round and who they may play. So we'll see.
How about this little nugget for you right quick, since you're an NBA guy? When they host game one of the next series, it will be Oklahoma City's 62nd home game since 2010. That's more home.
Wow.
That's how spoiled that the Oklahoma City Thunder fan base is. Uh, that this will be the 62nd home game since 2010, more than the Lakers have had, more than the New York Knicks have had. And we've only had 17 years of NBA basketball. And this was our inheritance. Pretty good. So next round, don't you think it'll be Denver? So I'm kind of thinking it'll be a Russell Westbrook versus Thunder second round. Can't wait to watch it.
I am definitely looking to the conversations we have as we see the Thunder possibly make a run at the NBA championship this year. So for the Tulsa World Sports Extra Show, this is Jawan Lee and Bill Hasten. We'll see you guys next time.